name is Liz Partsch.
And I'm Paul Rowley.
And welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown.
Where we will be giving you another rundown of the week's top stories.
Yeah.
What up? Hey.
Yeah, kick us off, Paul.
Oh, it's my
Don't you got
turn.
a little special feature for us?
I do, yeah. All right, so here's how we're going to get started today. We're going to bring it karaoke style to the pod, which I think is a first for us here at the Weekly Rundown.
Yeah, well, we've sang before, but this is extra special.
Right. So just to preface, actually, I left TikTok, the app, several months ago. I deleted it from my phone, deleted my account, moved on. But for my years on that app that I spent from the pandemic, I think is when I started using it until earlier this year. It became like a running joke on the app. If you remember, whenever like aspiring musicians or pop stars would announce, did I just make the song of the summer? Like, I don't know how many times you would have seen that. And like, there were varying degrees of like, some people were like, oh, you have like a lot of talent. And some people were like, you are not meant for this, this life as a singer. You probably have other talents, but producing music and singing is not one of them. But it all lead off with, did I just make the song of the summer? So anyway, I have the song of the summer, as it turns out. And it is a song that I hastily wrote before we gathered to produce this podcast for you today. And I'm actually going to even turn on the karaoke. So this is a song to the tune of Cool for the Summer by Demi Lovato. All right, I'm going to hit, because I need a... You guys ready for this? Tell me what you are. If you're alive, it's okay. I could really feed on you too. Tell me if it's wrong, if it's right, I don't care. I could eat my way through. You got my mind on your livestock and their bodies on my mind. Got a taste for their meat. I just need to take a bite. Goodbye to your mother. Spread me to one another. Die with each other. Screwworm for the summer. Ah!
Oh my God.
That is the song for the summer.
I really love how like anybody who's watching had like no background about like why you were doing this, why it's coming.
No, right.
Like just If you didn't know, we're talking about the screwworm. That's
right.
all we've been talking about because it is here.
It's here. It's in 2 states. That's right. So authorities have now detected 12 cases of New World screwworm in the United States since June 3rd, which Farm and Dairy has been tracking quite dutifully, actually. All of the cases but one are located in Texas. But meanwhile, other states, including Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and quite a few others far outside the affected region, have all responded by restricting animal movement and ramping up surveillance to protect herds and livestock and also pets. One of the early cases of screwworm, I believe in New Mexico, was actually a dog. And people as well, who are all susceptible. Anything with living warm flesh and warm bodies are susceptible potentially to this incursion of this really, really gross insect. I'll just give you a small sort of summation of where we're at right now. So on June 9th, Pennsylvania Agriculture Secretary Russell Redding issued a quarantine order limiting animal movements and urging Pennsylvania farmers and pet owners to tighten biosecurity to protect their livestock and pets. Their quarantine order includes provisions for veterinary inspection, animal health certification, and preventative measures designed to reduce the risk of New World screwworm entering the state through animal movements. There are no cases of New World screwworm in Pennsylvania right now. There are no other cases in any other state, again, just to reiterate, except for Texas, which has most of them, and then one that we know of in New Mexico. So anyway, that is the state. West Virginia has also taken notice, the status of things rather. On June 10th in West Virginia, their State Department of Agriculture issued a special movement notice establishing additional requirements for warm-blooded animals crossing state lines from areas that are already impacted by the screwworm. The new guidelines are part of the state's own bid to protect their livestock and companion animals while allowing for continued animal transport under enhanced safeguards. Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota have also enacted import restrictions. They have required pre-entry permits and testing for animals traveling from states with active screwworm outbreaks. And Canada, as of early June, has also implemented temporary import restrictions on livestock, including horses, from entering the nation up there, our neighbor up north from affected areas. Animals that originate from or were present in Texas within 21 days prior to boarding crossing will not be accepted into Canada. The outbreak, let me remind you, started when it starts when the larva of this parasitic fly it was found on a young calf in southern Texas. It's the first affected domestic animal in 60 years. The cases have primarily been detected in cattle, but there have also been a few cases in sheep and some goats. The screwworm was also found in a pet dog in New Mexico, as I said.
Oh no.
I know,
I
very
mean,
sad.
poor everybody.
Poor everybody, but also the dog is really,
Yeah.
yeah. And also, don't go looking. This is my just personal advice. Don't look for photos on the USDA's website of the screwworm, because I did that because that is actually the artwork that graces our front page this week, which is the larva, and specifically its two little fangs. They're not fangs, like hooks that
Mouth
it uses.
hooks,
Mouth
yeah.
hooks, yeah. And that's how it's like universally described as the mouth hooks. So unfortunately, I saw some really disturbing graphic photos of like the screwworm in action in livestock, one of which included a dog, and it was just really, really terrible. So I would just advise you all, if you have not seen this before, maybe don't Google it. Just let us tell you about it. Anyway, the USDA has launched an interactive dashboard for the public to keep tabs on the screwworm's movement and spread. The government is obviously also hard at work trying to deploy sterile flies that will mate with the female flies in if affected areas, and then those female flies will lay basically like sterilized eggs that won't hatch, and so that will bring the population numbers back down to zero, which is basically, I think, the way that we did it in 1966, which was the last time that we had to deal with the screwworm in America. So let's hope we don't have to keep listening to my song, and we can beat back the screwworm again. They are really scary insects. They are, if I'm not even gonna, you just heard me talk about this a week ago. They live in wounds and orifices. That's where the fly lays its eggs, which then hatch into larvae, which then eat their way into warm living tissue and flesh and do catastrophic damage to whatever it encounters. So anyway, ew. For more, check out the story on the front page, and also peep the larva guy that he has. It looks like he has a
Yeah.
little mustache, kind of. That is our front page.
It is a great front page.
Yeah, it's really
also,
good.
that was a great song, Paul.
Oh, thank
I
you.
want that
Appreciate
on.
it.
You need to post it on
Yeah,
all the
we'll
socials.
have to do
like
that, yeah.
That was incredible.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Okay,
Good
yeah.
work to you, Paul.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so that song right there.
The floor is yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to follow you up with some sad news,
Okay.
too.
Okay.
So the Mercer County Grange Fair in western Pennsylvania canceled after 60 years.
Oh,
Due to a
wow.
lack of volunteer. Yeah, long time, right?
Yeah.
That was due to a lack of volunteers and the high cost economy, according to Jim Richardson, who is the chairperson of the board of directors for the fair. But Richardson actually started going to the fair years ago with his grandfather, really in the beginning years of the fair. He's 60 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much early on. And there he learned how to use a payphone, keeping a dime in his shoe in case he needed to make a phone call.
Oh, wow.
I thought that story was really cute.
Yeah.
I know. Just a little side note, when I was writing this story, I was telling my mom about this,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Oh, she used to do the same thing. Used to keep a dime in her shoe and like use a payphone." But she had this weird trick with her family where they didn't want her to waste the dime,
Oh.
so she would put the dime in, and the phone would ring once or twice, and then
Yeah.
she'd hang up because then you could get your dime back. But if my grandparents picked up,
Yeah.
or if she lost the dime,
Yeah.
like her sisters lost the dime, they get so angry. So she asked me, like, she was like, "Did he save his dime? Did he do the dime trick too?" And I was like, "No, that was all you. That was all you, babe."
That's really
but yeah.
funny.
Anyways, so yeah, the fair is not happening this year. Really sad. Because it lost several volunteers, including one volunteer who broke their arm.
Oh.
Richardson said they can't put on a fair with half a dozen people. You know, that's just not realistic. Mercer County's insurance company also recently canceled the county's insurance, including on the fair and all the buildings. Huge deal. On top of that, Richardson says rising prices resulted in the fair's cancellation. Typically, Richardson will donate like $1,000 to $3,000 to the fair, but said this year he just couldn't do it. And many sponsors, also weren't able to donate as much this year. He also cited, just the rising cost of gas prices is part of a reason why it's been difficult. So, meanwhile, though, the board of directors has already set a date for next year's fair. So it's not going away completely. They plan on hosting a gun raffle and basket raffle to make repairs to the fairground and for next year's fair. And Richardson is really encouraging other just people to really volunteer for next year. That's what they really need help on is volunteering. So to learn how to volunteer and just to learn more about the fair and all these details, you can go to farmingdairy.com or read the front of the paper.
That's so sad to hear about that not happening. So many people, I'm sure, are looking forward to.
Yeah, because it's such a big event, especially like in our region. These county fairs are huge, and it is really upsetting. But fortunately, it is not going away forever. So I guess that is like bittersweet news in a way.
Yeah, it's not.
Not forever.
Yeah.
So
okay, all right. Well, I have a column. Well, yeah, I guess a column. From our opinion section, actually, just more on the screwworm. Our pal Alan Guebert wrote about the screwworm in our opinion section this week. And I thought it was interesting to include because there is this whole other argument that is kind of consuming the discussion about the screwworm right now, and it has to do with whose fault it is that it's here at all.
We need to place blame. We can't just take care of the problem.
Right. And the actual portrait, I think, I'll save my thoughts for the end, actually. But so he leads his column. He says, "Poor Joe Biden." And mind you, even for those of you who might not be fond of the man's political legacy or decisions or laws passed or anything like that, he has like stage 4 prostate cancer.
Yeah, that's
so
wild.
So actually, poor Joe Biden. Anyway, although he was out like recently, I saw a picture of him and he looked quite good. So
that's good.
I don't know. Yeah, he has the same aviators on and everything. So this is Alan Guebert now, out of office for 17 months, and he's still the reason for every Trump administration failure, large or small. Take the latest screw up. The U.S. Department of Agriculture now finds itself brisk deep in the recent discovery of multiple cases of, quote, flesh-eating screwworm parasites, end quote, in the Southwest. How did today's infestation occur? The dumbest way possible. We let it walk right in, reported Forbes on June 8th. We, meaning budget-gutting, faceless dogies, and that is a reference to the Department of Government Efficiency, which has been disbanded out several months ago, last year.
Yeah.
Doge does no longer exist as a agency, if it was ever an agency. But anyway, it's so blah 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 blah. Operating without adult supervision / government programs in early 2025 without cause or explanation. And this is, I guess, a quote from Forbes. The return of screwworm comes after the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, launched by the Trump administration last year, cut funding for a project dedicated to monitoring and containing New World screwworm in Central America. The funding was axed days before the U.S. ended a temporary suspension of cattle imports from Mexico, meaning livestock was allowed to cross the border without any of the monitoring previously funded by the U.S. Agency of International Development.
Boom. So it's almost like we did just let it walk right in. Yeah.
So
interesting.
So this is the issue. I will say, too, I was on a press call about the first case last week. That's how quickly things have developed with the screwworm. Was that last week? It feels like it was like a year ago, but it was not. It was very recently. I'm pretty sure it was like last week. And anyway, at the call, and then also in other like press, I don't want to say junkets, but like interviews, Brooke Rollins was on this call, and she's the secretary of the USDA, and she made reference to like the open borders policies, quote unquote, of the last administration and attributed that to the spread of the screwworm. However, I won't go so far as to characterize what else was said on that call as undermining her argument, because I don't think that's how it was intended, and I don't think that's what it was about. But anyway, there was no evidence as far as the initial case was concerned about the 3-week-old calf in Texas, where this all stemmed from. There was no evidence that animal was linked to any recent movement on or off the ranch where it was infested with screwworm. So the exact route that the screwworm took to get to this animal is pretty unclear. My guess would be that it just flew over the border, but like that is not due to caravans of migrants or like
It doesn't really seem like would be the one to
right.
transmit, because it doesn't sound like people are the ones carrying it. It's livestock, right?
Right. And so like the insinuation is that these people are moving livestock and that they are doing it in a kind of clandestine way. And those
So
livestock
illegal
are-
immigrants that are trying to get across the country just themselves are
Right.
obviously trying to bring cattle across, because that's not
Right.
you
In
know,
addition
trying to
to-
draw
right.
attention to yourself at all. Yeah,
Right,
that makes
So anyway,
complete sense,
that
yeah.
is this is the point of Alan Guebert's column, which is like a very compelling column as well that I encourage anyone to read. I will say that as far as my article goes, there was I cited an Atlantic article actually that said that the programs that were cut by Doge probably would not have actually done much to forestall the screwworm incursion for long. However, I guess we just cannot know
Yeah,
for
we will
sure.
never know.
We
It's
will never
here,
know.
yeah.
So that is kind of where we're at, but it is definitely food for thought. I don't think it gets us any place to just stand around and like blame each other for being in this situation. And we should probably not do that if we would like to,
Yeah.
you know.
Because then it just takes away from the problem. Like, we're
yeah.
focusing on, like, oh, whose fault is it is, when really we should just be thinking, how do we get rid of this?
Yeah, it's just kind of static at
Yeah.
some point. I don't really care who, like, it just get rid
Yeah,
of it.
it's
Like,
here. Let's
yeah,
figure out
it's nasty.
how to get it gone.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's where I'll
valid
leave it
point.
that. But that is Alan Guebert in our opinion section this week. So definitely
Yeah.
check it out for some more food for thought before you become food for thought for the screwworm. So
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Love that you ended on that
Yeah.
note, Paul. Well, I got some more sad news, Paul.
Oh my God.
I know. I promise the next story we have
Yeah.
is going to be happy. The one that I have, both actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, JBS USA, the world's largest meat packing company, is closing its beef production facility in Sauderton, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
That's in Montgomery County, laying off 1,500 workers effective August 14th.
Oh.
Yeah. So the slaughterhouse is one of the largest east of the Mississippi, processing 2,000 cattle per day. JBS USA is also closing its Memphis, Tennessee value-added facility, which employs over 200 people. And they saying it's a way of strengthening operations for the future, which is according to a company press release on June 12th when this was announced. The closure comes at a bad time for the U.S. cattle industry, clearly. We wrote that just in reference to other things, but yes, clearly
It's
bad
really a
time.
bad time.
Because cattle numbers are continue to decrease and prices remaining high. The U.S. cattle herd is at a 75-year low, according to USDA data, in addition to screwworm.
Yeah.
So the loss, and this is a quote, the loss of the significant East Coast harvest capacity is a blow to cattle producers in a region of the country that already has limited processing options, said the Virginia Cattlemen's Association in a statement recently. So the production from the two closing facilities will be absorbed by other JBS plants. Over the past year, the company has made significant investments in new facilities and improvements in Texas, Georgia, and Iowa in order to grow its prepared foods and value-added capacities, modernize operations, and enhance the company's ability to serve customers in the years ahead. So as you can see, they're really putting that money, seems elsewhere. UFCW Local 1776, the union that represents JBS USA workers at the Montgomery County facility, says the state cannot afford to lose over 1,000 family-sustaining jobs, adding that these workers at the plant carried the nation through the COVID-19 pandemic and were actually hit hardest by the illness at the most during this time.
Yeah.
So the union has really just vowed to keep the plant open by working with local, state, and elected officials,
Nice.
to try to keep that plant there. So just a little background for this plant, though, which I didn't know about until the story. The Sauderton plant was originally owned by the Moyer family, which began producing meat products in the Philly suburbs in 1877.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The current packing plant was built in 1974, and since then it has kind of gone through multiple different, like, locally owned hands to then be eventually consolidated by JBS USA. Which brings me to something interesting that I just feel like I'd like to mention. Just like the fact that this started out as a family-owned business in 1877, and eventually we see it consolidated and then eventually sold off, and like carelessly in a way it seems. And I just feel like that's something that's really been happening everywhere, or at least here in the U.S. a lot. Like the other day, we were just talking about Paramount, the Justice Department agreeing to let Paramount absorb Warner Brothers, which is like kind of terrifying a little bit. Because we don't need, it's very unnerving. We don't need more consolidation. I think we're just seeing this. This is like the price you pay when you consolidate. You just like people that work at these companies are just like tossed to the side, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that this has come up to, I've thought about this subject a bit as far as like private equity is concerned, which is not like, it's not quite the same thing as like consolidation, but it is like, these companies that are just being like Joanne Fabrics, RIP, for example, being bought up by like these firms that acquire the business and then and this is a real rudimentary description of like how this process works. Like you'll get a better description from someone, an expert online, but like these businesses that are kind of like staples of like the American shopping mall, like, you know what I mean? And they just are saddled suddenly with all of this like extra debt that like their new owners buy or are attached to them. And then the business entirely sinks and there's nothing left. And like so many of these like seemingly institutions that like were standing quite strong on their own suddenly get, like just destroyed. And like as far as the consolidation goes with like Paramount and Warner Brothers, like that has roiled CBS, that has been in the news quite extensively, and that there have been changes that have been made that were supposedly done to curry favor with the administration. And so that it's this big, weird, like, kind of nasty.
Well, you bring up a good point too, because I think that's what's really concerning about like from the Paramount, merger, is that it's like news organizations too. Like that is concerning because like, we don't want, I would like independent news organizations. I don't want like a big entity controlling.
Correct. None of us.
And we already have so many news organizations that are like that.
Right.
I mean, think about the Washington Post. It's owned by Jeff Bezos. Like,
right.
That seems problematic to me.
Yeah.
But
and their opinion section has changed quite drastically. It's taken a seemingly no longer. It's seemingly as a partisan bend now, which I don't think serves anybody. I don't think that there should be a partisan bend in an opinion section.
As much as any journalist can. Right. I mean, obviously, a journalist.
Yeah, we need a range
has
of opinions.
Their opinions, but the point of a journalist is not to write. At least, unless you're writing an opinion piece,
right,
the point of the opinion is just to write
yeah.
what your readers want to know. You just write the facts. I mean, that's the goal of what we try and do here at Farm and Dairy.
Correct.
But I don't know. Yeah, but just an interesting thing we're seeing with all this consolidation and the fact that it's just kind of sad seeing this this meat plant that was originally a family-owned business. This is just kind of what happens when consolidation becomes goes too far, I guess.
Yeah.
So
you see how much we stand to lose in stories like this. So
pretty sad.
Yeah. Well,
make us happy.
I will try. I actually do have a story. So I will preface this as well when I mention this and just say how surprised I was by the turnout actually around this. So in honor of America 250,
let's go.
Yeah, literally. We're all excited about America.
So happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So ready for 4th of July.
Oh, yes.
To come and go.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Right. So this is in regards to the coast-to-coast journey of Union Pacific's Big Boy. Big Boy 4014.
Is that really the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
Big Boy.
There's another song. If we really wanted to make it a musical episode, it's the song by SZA, which I think she wrote for Saturday Night Live, which is, I don't know exactly, but it's like, he's coming sailing all the girls want a big boy. They want a big boy. They want a big boy.
Oh, is it like a parody of her song?
Yeah. Okay. And like something that she would write, but like it was specifically about like how awesome it is to be attached to men in the wintertime who are like a bit bigger, a little bit curvier.
Oh, and they keep you warm.
Yeah, because like it is cold out and like you do not want to be cuddling up to skin and bones. So anyway, on that note, this is the train, Big Boy the train. And it rolled into Lorain, Ohio on June 8th as part of its first ever tour of the Northeast. And this is not just an ordinary train. Like I will absolutely admit that I was expecting like Thomas the Tank Engine train. This is a gigantic 1.2 million pound steam locomotive. It is huge. And then, of course, behind it, it is towing, which what you read in my article, all of these kind of like heritage cars, including one that is made specifically for America 250 for this year, which is like really cool. It was a scorcher this day. It was so hot that the hanging flower baskets that I bought to adorn my porch were vaporized this day. I bought them the like Saturday before the train came into Lorain. And when I got home, they were all dead. And I am like trying desperately to resurrect my flower baskets.
Oh, Miracle Grow.
Okay, Miracle Grow.
Yeah,
okay.
Mix it in some water. That should help.
I did try some other stuff, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But thank you for the tip.
Yeah.
So yeah, is Scorcher, and this is where this train actually stopped for about 15 or 20 minutes. So for the throngs of people who had come to see it could get a glimpse and really appraise the train and take it in and all that. This is I guess a stretch of Lorain that is like especially desolate. I think like there is a Head Start that it was on the corner, and then there's the train tracks. And the only people who are ever here, like it's only ever busy, I'm sure, during like pickup time when Head Start lets out, and when the gate comes down to let like a freight train pass through, and the traffic kind of lines up. That's it. There's never probably been a time where there was like. I read reports, I couldn't confirm them with Union Pacific, but I read that in other media outlets that's quoted the number 2,000, that there were 2,000 people just on this stretch of like,
that's wild.
Land in the rain, which was crazy. And you can see for yourself in the photos that are this is the auction cover. And you can see for yourself just how far back the crowd goes. And that is just like one side of it. There was also like seemingly untold numbers of people behind me as well. It was a lot. And so hundreds of people just converged here, maybe thousands. There was even a food truck. I guess they had gotten, obviously there was pretty advanced notice that the train was going to be passing through this area. It was one of the official stops that Union Pacific has listed online. According to spokesperson at Union Pacific, Mike Jackson, the overwhelming turnout has really been a pattern all along around the route that Big Boy has traversed. When the train pulls into certain communities, there's just an influx of people who have come to see it, and it makes it feel as though the local population suddenly doubles or even triples, like for the day. It was very cool. I talked to really enthusiastic people, some people who had driven hours to that spot in Lorain to see the train for themselves.
Wow.
And they were like trying to find like the best spot where they could get the closest to it. And we could really I couldn't get through the crowd, and there was caution tape set up, but like you could touch it if you wanted to.
Wow.
We were
while
that.
it was passing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you probably shouldn't, but like, yeah, it was like that close. Like everyone was like, I don't know, there was probably a foot between like the crowd and then like the train. Like it was very close, and it didn't like peel out of there or anything. But it's crazy, and it's huge. And I made a little video, my first actually, just kind of a small composition of my videos that I had taken a couple videos on my phone, and then some other reader or like submitted videos that we were fortunate enough to receive, showing it throughout Northeast Ohio that day, which was really neat. So thank you to everyone for those videos, for submitting them and sharing them with us. And yeah, it was just like a really cool thing. And if you would like to, if you do not get a chance to see the train, there is another opportunity because it is coming back. I don't think it's going to be back at Lorain, but it's going to be traveling back through Ohio. And that information is available on the Union Pacific website. The specific location, I forget where it is, but it is in the article. So that will be online, and it's also in the auction section of the paper. So you can check it out there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
People were thrilled for the train.
Yeah, it did look like everybody was so excited that day. I just started in the office
enamored with it.
Yeah.
Everyone, oh my God. And then like I would run into people and they'd be like, did you see the train? Like just like not asking me as like a reporter, just like a person. Like, did you get to see the train?
I know, yeah, that's wild.
Like, oh yeah,
so crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody was about that train
They
that
were
day.
really about that train. Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, I'm going to send us off with a special story. Nice story.
Nice.
In our special section in the paper this week, which is our Progress edition.
Progress.
Oh, yeah. And it features a story by our beloved editor, Rachel Wagner, about a almost 20-year-old breathing new life into Mercer County Stockyards.
You say almost 20-year-old?
Yeah, almost
like 19-year-old?
No, he's 20, almost 21-year-old.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
I said that wrong. He is 20 now, turning 21 soon.
We're talking young, though. So
yeah,
this is a young
pretty young,
person.
yeah. So Cole Byler, hope I said his name right. Sorry, Cole, if I didn't.
That's a cool name.
Cole Byler, right? Yeah. grew up on his family's farm in Mercer and has always had an interest in cattle. At 2 years old, he would sit in a lawn chair along the fence line and watch the cattle in the field. So he was always enamored by this.
Yeah.
And that's a story told from his mom in the story.
Oh, that's nice.
So, because it interviews her as well. So this interest translated into his homeschooling, and later after graduating, he would hop full-time into the cattle industry, traveling to auctions almost every week, buying and selling cattle in the Midwest and in Texas. And this is how he came across the opportunity to buy the Mercer County Stockyards. The sale barn was originally run by auctioneer John Remold in 1960 and 2 generations of family members before it was sold to the Miller family in 2022. And then after, Cole Byler heard about the Miller selling the sale barn, he expressed interest in taking over the facility. This is really just a dream come true for him.
Yeah.
So the family the family and him were able to work out a lease to own a contract, so he didn't have to pay all of the capital up front.
Yeah.
And then when he told his mother, she immediately got offered his help. She was immediately on board. And now many of his family members, including his fiance and her family members, help run the business, which is already growing. And his family is growing. And I honestly didn't include much more detail about this story because I really just felt like it was a cute story, and I wanted everybody to read the story to actually get those really cute details and just how awesome. I mean, really just incredible, how young this gentleman is. And all the great work that he's doing. So if you were interested in reading that, you can flip to our progress section in the paper this week or go online.
Nice.
To farmandairy.com.
Yeah.
Our newsletter will contain it on Thursday,
Heck
which is
yeah.
probably when you'll see this, maybe.
Nice.
So yeah, that's it, guys.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast.
Really fun.
You can find all of the top stories online, obviously, at farmandairy.com. Or you can find a local newsstand at the many local newsstands we have, wherever they are. Don't know, but I'm sure you
they're
might
around.
know one.
Yeah.
Best bet is check a Tractor Supply. I've heard they're they're frequently there. Yeah, that's really it. So
can I address something really quick, actually?
Sure, yeah.
Since we're here, it will be very quick. And this is actually the price of a subscription, which has gone up a little bit. And this is because the USPS has increased mailing rates by 37% over the last 3 years, and they actually have another increase scheduled for next month. And so a small raise in the subscription rate was necessary to combat those costs. The new rates, 1 year of Farm and Dairy, which is just not long enough, but we would love if you would spend a year with us. 1 year subscription is $49.95. A 2 year subscription is $84.95. But if you auto renew, the year actually goes down by about $5 to $39.95. So you get a nice little boost if you just click auto renew. But it's worth it because then you get to spend your day somehow with us. Yeah, which is great. And this is priceless.
Yeah, and don't be mad at us, guys.
No,
it's not our fault. Yeah, everyone's struggling.
We really do be struggling.
So
we're not struggling.
We're not struggling. But yeah,
under the post office. And other
but
things.
yeah,
personally, we're kind of struggling. But
yeah, I mean, when we can't just absorb those costs.
Sadly.
We have to make money to be able to put out this paper every single week.
Yeah.
So please, just don't be too mad.
That's all right.
Anyways, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye for now.